Welcome along to the GTN Show. Today, I'm going to be questioning whether the upcoming ITU World Championships could actually be unfair to the athletes. We're just a few days away from the race in Hamburg, and some of the athletes are still struggling to get flights out of their training base into Germany. And those that might have got their travel sorted are still probably going to be panicking with their training and their preparation when it's come at such short notice. Well, more on that to come. We're also going to be covering a couple of races that have been cancelled, not purely due to COVID this time. We've also got two failed challenges, but to balance things out with some positive news, we've got an exciting race coming up in the UK this weekend. On top of that, we've also got Caption Competition, your photos, and race news. As we mentioned last week, it is the WTS Hamburg coming up this weekend that is going to be the decider for the World Championships. So instead of being a series of races like normal, it is a one-off race because all the rest have been cancelled, and this will decide the overall world champion. And we reported this with a lot of excitement, as here at GTN we love to see races and we know that athletes love to race. However, it turns out that some athletes aren't quite so enthusiastic about this, and understandably so, because it was announced, just a mere 2 weeks before the race. So some of them have written their season off, some have been doing completely different training, and others can't even get there. So there has been quite a lot of frustration coming out from the athlete community. There's a few posts here sort of representing that. Henry Schoeman, who's based down in South Africa, said, "What happened to every athlete given a fair opportunity to prepare and race?" Javier Gomez, who we saw racing last weekend, he said it's great to have some races if it's safe, and Hamburg's a great event, but to call it World Championships, announcing it not even 2 weeks before the event, not even in the standard distance, is very unfair in my opinion. Many countries can't even make it to the start line. Yes, on that point, it has actually been announced that it's a sprint distance race as well, so that's going to make it even harder for those who haven't really had any race practice yet to really get that top end speed in just a few weeks. I'd love to know what sort of training these guys who are racing have been doing. Sarah True has also tweeted here, "As much as I want to see racing resume, this is deeply unfair to athletes. We're in the midst of a global pandemic." And I mean, those athletes have a point. There's a spectrum of opinions there, and obviously everyone's in a completely different situation, so it's going to be interesting to see how the race actually unfurls and how some athletes have managed to adapt their training in such a short period of time. We're still excited to see the race, but it's just whether it should be called a World Championships or not. That's the debate. Well, let us know what you think. You can do that in the comments section below. Well, amidst all of that excitement around WTS Hamburg, there was also some news for the race calendar next year. The World Triathlon Executive Board have decided that Edmonton, Canada are going to host the World Triathlon Championships, the grand final, in August of 2021. Then Bermuda will be hosting the sprint and the World Triathlon Relays. That's not until October, and they're still waiting for the dates for the Para Triathlon World Championships. But remember, next year is Olympic year, so they've got to make sure everything fits around that as well. I think you guys know how excited we are to potentially see racing, so you can imagine our disappointment when we saw that Challenge Davos actually got cancelled. That was last weekend, and this time it wasn't due to COVID, it was actually due to the weather. So the event started, but as the leading pros started to come out of the swim, a thunderstorm was arriving, so they had to stop the rest of the swim entries, and apparently it was during the actual early stages of the bike ride that the event had to get cancelled purely due to the weather, which is really sad, and not just for the athletes but the spectators, and for also all the effort that's gone into that organising of that competition. The PTO had put in €21,000 as prize money. Well, they have decided to, instead of keep that, they've divided it amongst all the pros evenly, so every pro who went there will still have gone home with some prize money. And then the Challenge family had allocated €19,000 for the pro prize purse. Well, instead of giving it to pros, they've actually decided to reinvest it, and they're going to reduce the entry fee for age groupers next year, which I really like that idea. It's something a little bit different. Now, another race that has been cancelled, sadly this time due to COVID, is the Noosa Triathlon. It's one of the biggest Olympic distance triathlon races in the world, I think. It attracts around 8,000 people to Noosa, but sadly the councillors of that local region have just made a decision that events of anything more than 500 aren't going to be allowed. So a lot of frustration there, but I think in these circumstances that is understandable. However, we do have some positive news. There is an exciting triathlon happening in the UK in a few days' time. It's the Helvellyn Tri, which is known for being extremely tough, but doesn't normally sort of attract any big names or that much in the way of media interest. However, the PTO have put in $15,000 in the prize purse, and that, along with the fact that I think there are very few races happening at the moment, is starting to attract some big names. Now, this is a notoriously tough triathlon. I've only recently heard about it, but it consists of a 1 mile swim in Lake Ullswater, which I think is known for being rather cold. It's held up in the Lake District, so in the north of England. And then it's a 38-mile cycle route, including something called the Struggle, and that's a 15,000-foot climb of the Kirkstones Pass. And then it finishes off with a 9-mile run on the fells of Mount Helvellyn. It sounds rather treacherous and tough, and it's no surprise attracted the likes of Alistair Brownlee, who we know loves a tough race, and he's pretty good on the fells as well. But we've got Joe Skipper, Lucy Gossage, Will Clark, and many others battling it out. And Mark and myself might also be joining the guys on that start line, although having read just how tough it is, we'll have to wait and see on that one. And it wouldn't be a GTN show if we didn't cover a few individual challenges. Well, this first one didn't end too well. A swimmer attempted to cross the English Channel, which is 21 miles of pretty treacherous water, busy shipping lanes, and involves normally a rather comprehensive support crew, as well as plenty of preparation and training. Well, this swimmer decided to try it alone, which is most certainly not recommended. Apparently, his friend alerted the Coast Guard, and there was an 8-hour search to find him. Thankfully, he was found well and safe, just rather tired, but only 500 yards off the English coast, so hadn't made it very far. Just shows the strength of the currents and the importance of needing a safety support crew when you're doing something as massive as that. This next challenge, however, was in the comforts of their own home. This was I guess, a bigger challenge, but a slightly safer one to go about. It was Kyle Gregg who attempted to break the 100-mile and the 24-hour running record on a treadmill. Now, the 100-mile record stood at 12 hours, 9 minutes, 15 seconds, and the 24-hour distance record was 164.36 miles. Well, Greg was off to a good start. He held 7 minute 15 second per mile for his first marathon, giving him a time of 3 hours 11. So it all looked like it was on track, but sadly a hip injury started to hamper him, and he managed to get through the 12 hours and covering 87 miles. I'll say just 87 miles. I mean, it's still incredible, but sadly at 18 hours, he did have to pull the plug on it. But he still managed to raise £8,000 for the Children's Hospice across Scotland and the Guustavv Edwards Foundation.
I'm jumping in here now with some tech news. Now, anyone out there that's watching the Tour de France at the moment may well have been keeping an eye out for some new tech, new products being used by the teams and the riders out there. Something that I certainly enjoy doing every year. And one thing that's jumped out at me this year, partly because I love sunnies, is the shades being worn by Trek Segafredo. They're new sunglasses from Guustavv, and guess what? I've managed to get my hands on them. So I have the Spectro and the Demos, or Demos here, both pretty bold and exciting designs that actually make me look quite cool for once. In fact, I'm even going to go for the full setup here, helmet and all, to show you just how cool I do look. There we go. Check me out. Yeah, I know, it's debatable. I think there's a limit to how cool I can look, but these sunglasses have definitely done a very good job, or as good a job as they can do. Both of these, though, were released last week. They come with Zeiss lenses, obviously different options for the frame colors and the lens options. All those lens options, though, allow different levels of light through them for those different lenses, so really smart there. They both weigh in around 36 to 37 grams each. The Demos, or Demos, are slightly less angular, as you can see there, than the Spectro. The Demos start around €129, whereas the Spectro start around €169, but pretty exciting release from Guustavv there. We're now moving on to the race news, and we do actually have some exciting racing this week. We have the Otillo swim and run racing and some off-road Xterra triathlon racing. So starting off with the Otillo sprint final 15K, which is kind of like a super compact and fast version of swim run. This year it was actually only over a 12.5 kilometer course, a total of 12 swims and 13 runs in the space of 12.5k, which is absolutely mental. Due to Swedish regulations, they couldn't have any more than 50 competitors on the course at one time. So what they did is actually split it into heats over the course of the weekend. So they had 3 heats on the Saturday, 3 heats on the Sunday, a total of 250 participants over the course of the weekend. And the final result was actually decided in the final heat of the weekend. And that went to Team Swim Shop, a time of 1 hour, 36 minutes and 31 seconds, just ahead of Arc Swim Run Yo Running Club, who actually won the first heat of the weekend on the Saturday. Third went to Team Hubbo by Tot, and then the women's win went to Team Hello, and then the mixed team win went to Guustavv Dolman. Hope I got that right. Now moving on to the off-road Xterra racing, we had Xterra Nouvelle Aquantina. Hopefully I've said that right. In the men's race, we had Maxim Shane actually first out of the water, first off the bike, and first across the line on the run, taking a gun-to-tape win ahead of the reigning Xterra European champion Arthur Sierras, and then 4 minutes ahead of the 2019 ITU Cross Triathlon World Champion Arthur Forissier. In the women's race though, it was Marta Mendetto that took an early lead on the bike. She was closed down quite quickly on the technical sections, as it seemed like Alice Patties was attacking those sections. She took the lead and then just seemed to extend her lead to take the win overall. Marta Menditto took second, and then third went to Emmeline Azam. Well, finally from me, before I hand back over to Heather, I'm going to take a look through all your brilliant photos that you've been sending in to us. So first up, we've got a swimming photo here. I think it's a post-swim photo, maybe it's a pre-swim photo. Anyway, it's from Peter. He's at Timoth Promenade in Devon. He said it's great to live by the sea, even better when you have a wealth of strong swimmers in Timoth. Don Brooks, Tim Watson and Martin Saunders there with Peter himself. Brilliant photos, and I think that's the sunset there. Looks very nice anyway. Andy has sent in a photo of him mid 60-mile training ride in Appleton, Wisconsin. He said he's preparing for September the 12th, 2020 for the Wildlife Loop Triathlon in South Dakota. Sounds brilliant. Best of luck to you. I hope that does go ahead. Next one from Nathan, and his son Zachary, age 5, has, well, jumped on his bike in his pain cave there. He said he wanted to jump on to do a little Zwift ride, but his son's on there. Maybe the bike's a little big for him, and he's on a, well, you've said a Crit Pro X spec bikes. I've never heard of that myself, but it looks very cool. Finally though, sent in by Mark, and I love this, he was planning to do 70.3 Barcelona earlier this year. That didn't go ahead, as obviously many other races haven't. He then shifted his focus to maybe wanting to do a full distance triathlon. So, maybe off the back of our video, our homemade DIY triathlon video, he decided he would create his own. He did his own Ironman full distance triathlon. He had his pregnant wife there to help and as an aid station for the swim and on the bike. His father actually joined him for 29 kilometers of the marathon by bike, and then actually ran with him for the final 13k. He said he had some family spectators there during the run. He said it was an absolutely amazing experience. So well done to you there. That sounds absolutely amazing. As always, do send in all your photos and videos if you like, using the photo uploader that's on screen right now, or find the link in the description just down below.
I'm back with the Caption Competition, and I've narrowed it down to a few from this photo we had last week. It's quite a common theme here, but this first one from Sarah Try. The only appropriate reaction when the commentators talk about you looking fine and not showing your usual pain face. Yeah, that's the problem with those kind of races. They can get right up and close when you've got an hour to go on your static bike. We have one here from Zhao Zhao Hurdler. Wait, where is my aero helmet? That's good, like it. But these next two, there's quite a few on this theme, and I feel there's some frustration coming out of some of these suggestions. David Burnett, when you are deep into a threshold session, your iPad flashes up, low battery, 10% remaining, low power mode, question mark, yeah, we've all been there. It's a slight panic, isn't it? It's sad that we get panicked about such silly things like that. But Josiah 9008 is with you as well. He says, the face you make when your ANT plus signal drops during a race or hard interval session. I think Mark's had a few issues like that and he knows how you feel there. But the winner this week is Jamison Anton, who changed my Zwift avatar. It looks nothing like me now. Nice one. Jamison, get in touch. We'll get a cap sent out to you. And we have this week another picture from the Super League racing in Rotterdam. And this is Johnny Brownlee going for the leap. And you guys know what to do by now, so leave those caption suggestions in the comments section below. And that brings this week's show to a close. We've still got plenty of exciting videos coming up this week, including an epic Zwift battle of GTN versus GCN, so keep an eye out for that one. We're also going to be asking, is there a perfect heart rate for running? And now you've probably noticed that I'm wearing a brand new, rather bright, tropical looking t-shirt. Well, we've got 2 new styles on the GTN store at the moment, so follow the link on the screen and go and check those out. And give us a like if you've enjoyed it. Remember, you can subscribe by hitting the globe. And a couple of videos you might want to catch up on if you've missed. One interesting kind of question mark pose of whether you should flip turn. I'd recommend giving that one a watch. And we've also got our latest Couch to 5K video.